Watching the Orioles, watching the Orioles, watching the Orioles, watching the Orioles.
Welcome back to Bird's Eye View. When it comes to the Orioles, this weekly podcast is your official source for a lack of insight and for baseless opinions. Today is March 21st, 2024, and this is episode 383. My name is Jake English.
And I'm Scott Magnus.
And on today's show, we'll get into some 2024 season predictions with a little truth or truth.
And as always, we'll play stupid games to win stupid prizes.
And we'll do all that right after we lubricate the show. That's right, it's time for the drink of the week. Scott Magnus, what's on your list this evening?
So I brought gin over.
Always a good start.
Yeah, it was a great start. It's Gin Sul from Hamburg. Really nice gin. Goes really well with some tonic water. Mediterranean tonic water from, what's the brand called? Anyway, Mediterranean tonic water. Highly recommend it with it. Did not have tonic water. So fortunately, you were able to call to the bullpen and bring in a relief pitcher for me.
That's right. We are sampling this week a Johnny Walker Green, having, of course, just celebrated Irish DeMarco. So yeah, it's a delightful, yummy drink.
Sponsored by the New York Yankees.
As are they all.
Yeah.
If you are interested to find out what we are drinking on a daily, weekly, or game by inning basis, you can follow us on Untapped. I'm at Jake E4025.
I'm at MAGN 8606.
And Scotty, I just want to take a moment here for a tangent.
Okay.
I was talking to my dad the other day. My dad just got another dog, and every dog that my dad has had in, we'll call it the modern era, this is, I think, 3 dogs now, have been named after beers.
So not a 3-dog night?
No, it's not a 3-dog night. It's a 3-dog life at this point. But he's named...
That makes sense for your father, actually.
He's named these dogs after beers.
Okay.
The first one was Guinness, because he was a black and tan dog. That was very clever.
Okay.
The next one was Red. That was a good one. They've just adopted a dog. They're getting along swimmingly. He's been a great addition to the family. And I believe that his given name, his Christian name is Nathaniel. But he will be going as Bo because the dog's name is Nathaniel Bo.
Are dogs Christian?
This one, has the name to bear it. But it got me to wondering what is the ideal next series of names for beer-themed dog names? So
that's easy. Mad is the next one.
Mad Dog. I don't know about that. So let me throw that out to the greater audience, the listening audience of Bird's Eye View. Please get at us at your favorite social media outlet and let us know what the next several dog beer names should be.
Just another suggestion. Can we call your next dad's dog Fish?
As in Dogfish?
Absolutely. We can even call it Fish with PHISH if you really want to.
I'm now very sorry that I asked. Very, very sorry indeed. Scotty, that hurts so much that I think for the first time here in 2024, we should probably head in for a checkup.
Check your eyes, find out how much you've grown. Time for your checkup. Gonna listen to your heartbeat, fix you up, ready to go. Time for your checkup. It's okay if you giggle. This will only tickle a little. Time for your checkup. Time for your checkup.
All right, so knock on wood, it's been pretty quiet for spring training in terms of all things going on, except for day one.
There are a number of injuries for players that I am not convinced are real people, and so those won't make their way to the medical wing. But yeah, the Orioles have been pretty lucky. I mean, let's dive into it. I know everybody is aware of the situation with Kyle Bradish and his right elbow ouchies.
Yeah.
It's recently been said, I think this dates to the 19th of March, that Bradish is, quote unquote, responding well to his throwing program. And Scott, I think when we hear he's responding well to his throwing program, we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Calamity.
He
was just waiting to fall apart.
Listen, until he gets into a start, or until he gets into like sent to the minors to do some rehab standpoints, I'm just not holding my breath is the best way to put it. Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but Kyle Bradish is a 2025 project at this point.
If that. Bum, bum, bum.
All right, so maybe you're doom and gloom about it. All right, well, while we're on the topic of right elbow ouchies,
yeah,
we've also got John Means.
Yeah, and again, he keeps saying on track. There's, a timeline of maybe he's saying that he's going to be available in late April. Again, not throwing just yet. Seems kind of odd. I mean, I just look at this whole situation with John Means and I say to myself, like, how are you going to build duration? How are you going to build innings? And again, it's not like he had a lot of innings last year as well. So, I mean, I said it last offseason, or I guess this offseason, but I said it back in October. I was just like, I just don't see John Means, in essence, being 120, 140 inning pitcher. I see him being, 60 to 80 innings. And I asked the question, I was like, maybe he's better in the bullpen. So, I mean, the Bradish situation is the Bradish situation. I think we just need to chalk it up as that. But like, John Means is in a really interesting situation. He goes to free agency next year as well. So, if he wants to get that nice payday, as it were, I mean, he hasn't had a big payday yet. I mean, he's been on, his starting deals, basically. John Means has to be able to do something this year in order for him to get something, or else, he's going to get, a $4 or $5 million deal again, which stinks for him. But I don't know. It's a really difficult situation.
I'm a little more hopeful about John Means than I am.
You're always hopeful for John Means.
I mean, how can you not? How can you not be?
You just look at him and say, that man is a man that means business.
He does mean business, and I'm here for it. No, I am hopeful that John Means is going to throw.
You think he's going to come back into the rotation?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
So you think he's going to replace, Irvin is what most people are saying.
Yes, and I will say that it is my suspicion that by the time early May rolls around, that one of the 5 starters will prove to be trouble. And we will have John Means to go to.
Okay.
How long we have John Means, I don't know. But
trouble could be performance, injury, something. It's like Buck says, spots have a tendency to open up on a Major League Baseball roster.
They do indeed. Our last entry into the medical wing is Austin Hayes, who's had a little tummy trouble.
It's going around.
Couple of weeks.
It's going around.
So I will point out, with the way the roster is constructed, Austin Hayes being out of the lineup, this is not hug watch.
No.
This is stomach bug watch.
Yeah. Well, it is possible. I mean, the Orioles have been an offensive juggernaut in spring training. So it was only a matter of time before someone got the runs.
I see what you did there. It caught me by surprise. And
It caught Austin Hayes by surprise as well.
I'm delighted. You're saying that it was a series of trots around the bases.
What I'm saying is it's a shame that the clear pants were on.
Welcome back to Bird's Eye View, everybody. Welcome back. I think that's going to do it for the medical wing, right?
I think we, wrap a towel around and head back to the dugouts, and let's go to this week on the socials. And we'll kick it off with threads is the best way to describe it.
We're going to go to threads.
This is still a thing, right?
Apparently so. I'm going to take a thread from Baltimore Banner Sports. This, of course, is from the Banner itself. And it says, the Maryland Stadium Authority is set to do business with the new owners of the Baltimore Orioles. And Scotty, everybody, not just the fans, everybody is ready to embrace the new Orioles ownership and not have to deal with the Angeles family anymore.
Yeah, can we talk about this really quickly?
Let's do it.
So, did you see the name of the organization? Oh, really? So, the Rubenstein organization that they, in essence, bundled this under is called Inner Harbor Sports, LLC.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, you could just take a look and be like, well, maybe it's not a big deal and stuff like that. I'll give it to John Shepard. John Shepard pointed this out, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to be cynical, but that's a really interesting take. But you take a look at Rubenstein, you took a look at the investment group, you look at Bloomberg, and this whole thing of like Inner Harbor Sports LLC. I mean, is it setting up for kind of another real estate grab once again in a real estate development standpoint of the Baltimore City area?
Well, if you click through that article that I pointed out in the thread, it says right here, the Orioles also have the right to negotiate a ground lease for development rights on properties adjacent to the stadium, including the B&O warehouse, the vacant Camden Station building, and a parking area between the warehouse and train tracks.
Sure. And that's very well established. But now that you have an individual like Bloomberg as a minority owner, part of it's because, him and Rubenstein are very good friends on that basis. Rubenstein, in essence, is been on Bloomberg TV and radio in multiple instances. But doesn't it also make a lot of sense to be like, oh, we've got a metropolitan area here that is at an all-time low in terms of real estate value. New ownership group coming in, just like in the early 90s. What if we decide to start buying up investment properties in the Inner Harbor area and, in essence, revitalizing the city, but also increasing our net worth on that basis?
I see what you're laying down.
Now, again, it wasn't me. John Shepard threw this out.
I got it.
So John Shepard, from Camden Depot, historical standpoint, threw this out, and I looked at it and I was just like, gosh darn it, it's possible. Is the best way to describe it. So I think it was a great point by him.
I'm going to go back to my previous comment. Some new billionaire owns this thing that my family has loved for generations.
Listen, again, I'm not here to pull my arrows against King Richard or anything like that, but it's just something maybe to keep an eye out for. It'll be very interesting to see if Inner Harbor Sports LLC is just, a contingency that is, filed in Delaware for tax purposes, or if there's something else more grandiose that is going to occur on this basis. So anyway, fun times. In other news, next week comes and we're going to head to X from Orioles on Masson Orioles. Fubo and Masson have announced a carriage agreement that will expand streaming coverage of the Baltimore Orioles across a 7-state region. Now, before this announcement, I actually knew what Fubo was.
Okay.
Because I had briefly tried it and then quickly canceled it because this is terrible from a streaming standpoint. So I'm really interested to see how Masson does with Fubo and how good, we'll call it, the streaming service is going to be through Fubo.
Maybe they've got an all-new streaming Fubo app.
That's possible. There is a Fubo app, I will say that much.
But they can call it the all-new Fubo streaming app for the next 7 years at least.
They can. I mean, there's other things you can watch on Fubo. Like I said, I was actually sitting at somewhere at lunch today that had Fubo on, and there was a Premier League game that was not obviously being played at the moment, but it was in essence being rebroadcast. So, I mean, it gives an option for cord cutters out there that maybe don't want to pay the entire aspect of an Xfinity or a Fios at $100, $120 a month. And instead, I think Fubo is around, I want to say it's like $59.99 or something like that. So,
and this is especially good for Xfinity customers who are now going to have to pony up the extra 20
part of the ultimate package.
Right. I'm really curious to see how this works. I want a streaming option to be valid, to be a good user experience. I want it to work. Right. If they try this and it's not a moneymaker, if they try this and the service sucks, if they try this and they don't invest in it properly, I don't want them to say, oh, well, we tried and it didn't happen.
Well, again, I come back to the question that I just raised in terms of creating this conglomerate, and is the best way to describe it. At what point do you think we see Masson, in essence, turn into Bloomberg and basically putting Bloomberg TV onto Masson during off hours? Because it's a 24/7 news service. So maybe you don't get Cowboy Monkey Radio anymore, or darts, or horse racing.
Where else am I going to get my rodeo, Scott?
You're just got to go out to Frederick.
Bummer.
Yeah.
All right. Next, let's take ourselves, let's stay on X actually, and we'll go to umpire scorecards at Ump Scorecards. And this is a tweet from yesterday, March 20th, that says, "We're back. It's our 5th season posting ump scorecards for every game, every day, and we couldn't be more pumped. We have some exciting updates and that you can look forward to early next week. In the meantime, stay tuned for the first scorecard of the 2024 season coming tomorrow morning. Baseball emoji." Scotty, I love this account. I love the umpire scorecards. I look at scorecards for games I don't watch. sometimes just to see if there's anything interesting that jumps out at me. This is a great resource for if you come out of an Oriole game really cranky and want some validation about your crankiness or some calming, soothing chamomile notes to tell you to calm down.
Yeah, definitely a follow. Sometimes there's some questionable, metrics in there, but overall, really like umpire scorecards really gives you a good baseline of, how cranky you should be, like you said. Next tweet comes from one of the voices of the Baltimore Orioles, Brett Hollander. At Brett Hollander, tweets as follows: flight attendant after landing in Sarasota. Welcome to the spring home of the Baltimore Orioles. See you in the World Series. And that drew a nice applause.
I love everything about this tweet. First,
So
yes.
is the World Series being held in Sarasota?
No, but I think the implication there was that the Orioles will be there. And
Well, I understood that, but
and another great thing is that neither Southwest Airlines nor the Baltimore Orioles are the ones having their doors blown off. So it is a great
that's
time
great.
to be an
Absolutely.
Orioles fan on a flight.
absolutely. And Boeing has no minority share in the Baltimore Orioles, so even better.
All right, next, let's head over to the Toots on Mastodon.
Yep.
This is a tweet there.
Wait, Mastodon is still a thing?
It's still a thing.
Okay.
Still exists. You can still get there. This is a toot from Mastodon at ESPN. We're going to just pick that one because I wanted to chat about this.
Yeah.
This is sources, reps for Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani to ask to investigate theft. Scotty, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought in the era of Major League Baseball getting into bed with the modern sports books that there would be some, clutching my pearls, there would be some indiscretion by someone associated with the game to get involved in the gambling and to have it be a problem? Who could have possibly guessed that something like this would have happened?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's very comical to me. It's just like, yes, it's a bad situation, it's a bad look, but at the same time, it's just like, at the same time, you're basically railing on this. You're coming back and being like, and sign up now and get $100 through DraftKings or through Caesar's Playbook or through whatever other standpoint there is. So again, not surprised. Stuff like this is going to come out more and more and more. At this point, I don't even know if it bothers me.
I can't wait for the 8 Men Out movie about this.
Just 8 virtual men.
Yeah, I really.
And does this bother you? The Ohtani story.
The Ohtani story doesn't so much bother me. I think it bothers me the position that the league has put itself in to not have any kind of moral standing for an issue like this. And again, this is a league, for better or for worse, that's keeping one of its greatest players out of the Hall of Fame for a related issue. Like
Barry Bonds?
Yes, that's the one. But you know what I'm saying? Like this is an unforced error completely of their making for the monies.
Are we talking about steroids?
Okay, this is another unforced error that they've made specifically for the
We're talking about the Negro League?
Yes.
I mean, it's this. Baseball has a long history of some amazing stories, but they have also an immense amount of stories of being behind the times or being not aware of what their decisions are doing and how it impacts. So, again, this should not be surprising to any of us. We're just going to grin our teeth, love the stupidity that is this game, and move on from it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, with that, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, Scott, I'm going to ask, nay, demand from you the truth, or perhaps the truth. Scotty, it's time. It's time for the season to begin. And I just want to start by acknowledging a failure of yours and mine. You know,
There's a lot of them.
it's been difficult for us to get together behind the mics this off season for a number of reasons. But in doing so, we have failed to return to one of the greatest spring training traditions that there is. And that, of course, I'm referring to the absolute love fest that is having Matt Taylor on this program during the
that's
spring.
truth.
So, Matt, mea culpa. All right, we'll get you on here. It'll be a good time. I miss you, pal. But another proud tradition here at Bird's Eye View is to make some predictions. And we have done this, for the past, 10, 11, 12 years, in many different ways. We've pulled out the crystal ball. I think we've sealed things in envelopes and unwrapped them. This year, we're going to try to get to the truth of the matter.
The truth of the truth?
Not the truth of the truth, but I think the truth wrapped within the truth in the essence of the truth as we know it. And so for our predictions of the 2024 season, it's time now, Scott, for some truth or truth.
So, Jake, truth or truth?
When you give me those options, I have to stare them directly in the face. I think I can do nothing but choose truth.
All right. So, Jake, the opening day roster has not been announced just yet. But there has been a lot of positive commentary from Brandon Hyde on Keegan Aiken. So, Jake, I asked you this question. How upset are you going to be on opening day when Keegan Aiken makes an appearance?
I think that Keegan Aiken's presence will get from me the same reaction as Mike Gonzalez's presence.
That's really bad. That's really bad. So you're not even accepting for showing up to basically get a lefty on lefty matchup.
No,
That
doesn't happen anymore.
That's true because you got to have 3 minimum batters. So you are just going to be very grumpy when you see him called from the bullpen.
I think he's going to be put through waivers.
There's no chance. He's definitely making this club. Be ready.
I think that he's going to be walked over every pothole in Baltimore. In Inner Harbor Holdings, LLC. All right, Scott. The question to you is put forth as this. Do you want truth or do you want truth?
I think I'll take the truth.
All right. Scotty, I ask you this question. Are you as excited this year in 2024 for opening day as you have been in past seasons?
I would say no.
All right. Walk me through this.
So I've mentioned this before. It's been a really interesting standpoint. I'm trying to gear myself up. I'm trying to get into the best shape of my life over the past week or so in order to be
Boys in shore.
Yeah, in order to be prepared for next week. But, the reality of the situation is, I'm really taking this in stride of saying, in previous years, I looked at opening day and I was like, that's the one day of the year where the entire stadium's going to be full. I can go downtown to Baltimore. I'm going to see everyone in orange. Everyone's celebrating baseball. And for the rest of the season, I might not see that. And now, I'm not expecting that anymore. I'm expecting to go to a multitude of games where I'm going to be jam-packed. I'm going to be yelling. I'm going to be screaming. And again, there's so much to look forward to in this season that, one day does not make the season like it has in the past. So am I getting excited? I am getting excited now. But I'm not looking at it with anticipation to the certain regard of saying it's one day of an entire season. It's just, I wouldn't say it's another game, but it's just another game for me at this point.
Wow. So here on the home front, I've had a bit of a distracting couple of months. So I got laid off back in January, which made it a little difficult to keep one eye on the ball team. I was supposed to go down to spring training for the Futures game on the weekend of the 13th or whatever it was. That didn't end up happening, but I found it difficult to be as invested hour by hour in the boys in shorts, in the rumors, in the what have you. I'm really looking forward to opening day as a way just to kind of reorient myself on the following of the club on the hourly, daily basis. But yeah, I as well have found myself weirdly out of sync for excitement this season. And, maybe personal standpoint, but I feel like I get that from a lot of people.
I'm super excited for the season. Like, don't get me wrong about that. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to watch Masson every night is the best way to describe it. But opening day, again, I'm not as jacked for opening day as I normally am. But, come Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be watching it. And then, when they go against the Royals in that first, weekday series, I'll be there at 6:30 when the game starts, watching it and saying, like, don't bother me is the best way to describe it. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I am super excited for the season, but just opening day doesn't have that same level of wow for me right now.
Well, opening day, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna start the day, of course, with our baseball beer.
Yep.
Again, I encourage everybody to do this. Save a beer from the last day of the season, put it in the back of your fridge, open it on opening day morning. We're gonna go down for some brunch. We're going to get into some charity work and Bible study, probably in Fed Hill, work our way over to the ballpark. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. And the Orioles are going to win a ball game.
They're going to win a ball game. Absolutely. The Orioles do great on opening day, so it's going to continue on. All right. So, Jake, truth or truth?
I don't think there's enough truth in this world, Scott. I choose truth.
All right. So, Jake, Jorge Mateo was named to the opening day roster today by Brandon Hyde.
Opening day starter, right? He's gonna throw the ball for us.
Well, you never know. So, Jake, at what point do you think we see Jorge Mateo in the outfield this season?
Yeah, it all depends on whether or not McKenna is on the ball club.
Yeah.
It depends on...
Do you think McKenna... I'll give you a partial truth or truth there. Do you think McKenna is actually going to get onto the ball club? You shut your god. No, we're moving on to the next question.
I think he might.
Gosh almighty, we're not even talking. This is... No.
There are so many guys that the Orioles have re-signed for real money that I can't imagine for any other reason that they would be here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying them what, like $2.3 million or something?
Yeah.
You got to keep them for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you see Mateo as a...
That's Brett Phillips money.
Are you saying that Rubenstein just finds that in the couch?
Yeah, that's just, or that's Angelos just saying, like, you know what? That's like one night in Nashville for me. No big deal.
Oh, jeez, Liz. I think we see him as a late inning pinch runner and then defensive replacement, I guess.
For who? Like Anthony Santander? All right. So you when do you think we'll see him in the outfield? At what point in the season?
Oh, I think first couple weeks of the season.
All right.
I think if it happens, I think this is a decision that Hyde is going to try to justify.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen sooner than we all want.
So you think it's going to happen in the first series against the Angels?
Second season.
Second against the Royals.
Yes.
Okay.
There's
Gotcha.
no better time than against the Royals. All right, Scotty. Truth or truth?
I'll take dare. I mean truth.
All right. Tyler Wells will be slotted into the third starter spot behind Corbin Burns and Grayson Rodriguez. Coming off a season in which he succeeded as a starter but ran out of gas part of the way through. My question to you is this. Will Tyler Wells be starting for the Baltimore Orioles at the All-Star break?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think Tyler Wells will be starting for the Baltimore Orioles in the last week of the season?
Yes.
Wow. So you think he makes it all the way through?
I do. So, I mean, I think we talked about this all last season where you had a bunch of players that in essence had not stretched themselves out. I think, Tyler Wells in essence hit the brick wall, and he hit the brick wall hard is the best way to put it. But I think he's a little bit more stretched out. I'm sure he did a bunch of off-season workout in order to kind of get some additional endurance on that basis. I think Tyler Wells came in basically with the expectation of like, I'm either going to be, in the rotation, or I'm going to need to, in essence, go out there and throw multi-inning relief appearances. So I think he worked immensely on endurance this all season. So I think Tyler Wells is going to make it the entire season. I don't think there's another option that's going to be available. I think he has to.
No, there are no other good options.
Well, I think the only thing that could potentially preclude Tyler Wells from, not being in the rotation at the end of the year, in my opinion, is probably going to be if John Means comes back and, there's a miracle, is the best way to describe it. and or the Orioles go and trade for a starting pitcher at the trade deadline. But I mean, I think the second one in terms of trading for a starting pitcher is much more possible on that basis.
Yeah, they're going to have Ryan McKenna to trade away.
I mean, they've got a ton of folks that they can trade away. Let's be candid. But like, I think Wells is going to make it. Is the best way to put it. I mean, I think I look at it and I say Burns, Grayson, Wells. Hopefully, Bradish can come back. And I think they'll kind of do the thing like they did at the end of last year, where there's a 6-man rotation in order to kind of hopefully not have to put their best pitchers out there. Hopefully, they've got a little bit of a comfortable lead and they kind of skate into it. But I think the bigger question is, when you go into a playoff series, and if you do get to the playoffs, does Tyler Wells slot in a 5-game series? And I think that's the big question in my head is Tyler Wells really, truly a top 3 starter on a playoff team caliber like the Baltimore Orioles? Or do the Orioles say, yes, he's a 3rd starter in order to get us through the entire regular season, but just like we saw last year, he is kind of in a Dean Kramer like category, and we need to, in essence, have a 3rd starter that in a short series they can go out there and dominate.
I am on record as being team Tyler Wells starting.
Oh, yeah, you have been for a long time.
I hope that he blossoms. I think it is such a luxury that if he were to falter as a starter, or if he were to be pushed out by better options, that he can be such a weapon in the bullpen. Yeah. But I do really hope that he does finish out the season. I just, as much as I wish cast it, I don't know that I have the confidence that you do that he'll be there at the end.
Yeah, I agree. So Jake, truth or truth?
It's a tough one. Let me take a drag of the scotch while I think of it. Johnny Walker says truth.
Okay. Jake, the Orioles have announced that they were going to do various revitalizations to Camden Yards. Obviously, that did not happen this given year. But if there were some modifications that need to be made in 2024 during the season, so it can't be anything major is the best way to describe it. But if something could be done during long away trips, maybe a West Coast trip, what is one thing that you would ask the Orioles to do to invest some of that money immediately this season that is a minor upgrade?
I don't know if this fits into the category of something that can be done in the window that you described, but the sound system. The sound system is horrible.
Yeah, the sound system is my number one priority as well to be upgraded. And I don't know how long that would take to upgrade, or if you could even do it piecemeal through the entire stadium.
Scott, I had to listen to my final time hearing Paul McCartney's voice live on that sound system.
It probably sounded better.
You shut your mouth when you talk to me.
No, to be fair, Paul brought his own sound system and speakers and everything like that. So let's be candid. You weren't really listening to the Camden Yards speakers for that.
Are you insinuating that perhaps I would bring drama to a situation where drama does not exist?
I'm saying you might be stretching the truth a little bit. You're basically saying like Ringo is a real Beatle, basically.
The sound system for me has got to be it. I think that there are a lot of ways in which the park has aged gracefully. I think that there are a lot of situations in which the park has not kept up, but for a everyday game experience, that's the time.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty, truth or truth?
Truth.
I'm going to go back to the guys that throw the ball. We're going to talk about the bullpen. Will the 2024 relief corps be a strength of this ball club?
God, no. I said it last year. I thought the team was extremely weak. And Felix Bautista came out and just shoved is the best way to describe it. And Cano had a breakout season as well. I just don't see that this year. I just don't see a breakout standpoint. I think Kimbrel will be serviceable is the best way to put it. I don't think he'll be bad or terrible, but I think he'll be serviceable. But I don't think the Baltimore Orioles bullpen is even going to be close to what it was last year. I think there's going to be a lot of frustrating late inning losses, and people are going to point back and say, "It would be really nice if Bautista was in this in the bullpen right now."
So you're telling me that we're not going to be saved by a Suarez or two?
No, we're not, Man, that was a fun story while it lasted in spring training with Suarez. And maybe it still happens, but man, I mean, that first start where he, in essence, fanned 7 Philly starters, you're just like, oh, did the Orioles catch lightning in a bottle again? And then no chance.
It's funny because my head agrees with you.
Yeah.
And as an Orioles fan, I've witnessed so much that makes me say that's very solid analysis.
Well, I mean, but we think about it. I mean, we went out and got Burns, which is exactly what you should have done. But you lost DL Hall through the process, which again, I make that deal any day of the week.
Sure.
Like, let's not do it. But by losing DL Hall in the bullpen, you lose an individual that was growing into potentially an elite bullpen arm. And now that you take that away, you're left with a Jacob Webb or a Julio Teheran or someone on that basis. And again, it's just not going to be the same. And again, when I look at the trade deadline, I say to myself, that's a great opportunity where, again, you should be looking for relief arms, because I think we're going to get to June and July, and the Orioles are going to have a average to below average bullpen. Nothing wrong with that, but they're going to say, in order for us to be really competitive in playoffs, we're going to have to go upgrade our bullpen and be ready to go.
Again, I can't argue with you.
Yeah.
Intellectually.
Yeah.
But there is a part of my heart that is colored orange that says, listen, they find
my heart is painted orange too. I mean, I'll go full truth on you. It's silly and it's ridiculous, and there's probably a 0.1% chance this happens. For some reason in my head, I feel like Felix Bautista is going to come back in September and pitch for the Baltimore Orioles.
How crazy would that be?
I just, based off his mentality and his personality and stuff like that, and it's not. There are data points out there where pitchers have come back in 12 months, specifically as relief pitchers, and been able to do it. Do I think that happens? More than likely not. 99.9% chance that doesn't happen. But man, what a great story that would be. I mean, can you imagine Felix coming out in September in the middle of a playoff push and Omar's whistle going? The stadium would absolutely explode.
Yeah, you just wouldn't be able to hear it on the speakers.
Right, that's true.
I have to give the organization a little something in the fact that they seem to be able to find guys like Cano, right?
Sure.
And so I wonder to myself, are they going to be able to patch this together to be a plus bullpen on hopes and dreams that shouldn't work?
I still don't think so. And I think it's going to be an average bullpen. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball, but again, the Orioles were a top 5 bullpen last year, and I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to be 13th to 18th or somewhere in that ballpark. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be a disaster. And they're going to be able to win a lot of games, but there's going to be a lot more late inning games that people are going to get frustrated about, and they're going to point back to, man, it'd be really nice if we would have upgraded more in the bullpen.
Fair.
All right, Jake, truth or truth?
In this instance, I will select truth.
So, Jake, the offseason was interesting for free agency. Obviously, there were some major contracts, but we also saw a lot of especially for the individuals such as Scott Boras clients, in essence, just get signed in this past week. And Jordan Montgomery is still available at this given time. I certainly don't think that Boras's philosophy in terms of how he approaches his clients is going to change immediately overnight. However, do you believe that with new ownership coming in, that an Adley Rutschman extension is going to happen during the season?
No.
Well, that's just disappointing.
No, I know. No one is more disappointed than me. No, that's not true. No one is more disappointed than my son. But no, I don't think it's going to happen during the season.
Okay.
Can you imagine, though? Can you imagine the moment that happens, how this town is going to react?
I think, once he signs the contract, he gets up and just goes and hugs everybody in Baltimore.
It's true. Scotty, truth or truth?
I'll go with truth.
My question to you is this, sir. Will Colton Wong be the same fan reaction lightning rod that Adam Frazier was last year?
No, because Colton Wong is not going to make the roster.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
He is the new Adam Frazier. He is the new Rougned Odor.
No, he's not going to make the roster.
Can you imagine? Will Colton Wong be the warmly embraced lunch pail Oriole?
No, it's not going to happen.
I can't imagine.
Jackson Holiday was just so good this spring training that it is impossible to not put him in there. It's going to happen.
Are you exceeding the mandate of this truth or truth question and going into the discussion of Jackson Holiday?
There's no doubt that Jackson Holiday is going to start with this club.
Say it again for those in the back.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, it's obvious that Jackson Holiday is going to play second base for the Baltimore Orioles on opening day, right next to Gunnar Henderson, and it's going to be glorious.
All right, I'm a little more excited than I was just a moment ago about opening day.
And again, it's a standpoint where, coming back to the topic of like Kobe Mayo had an amazing spring training as well. And on any other team, I would probably be like, Kobe Mayo needs to come up. But you have Jordan Westberg, who can play third base, he can play second base, he can play shortstop in a bind. I wouldn't say I would put him at shortstop, especially if Mateo is going to be on the team. But for Mayo, and I hate to say it because it's terrible, but it's almost a matter of like, I'm going to put you down in the minors in order to manipulate your service time, in order to have an additional time, because I just need Jackson Holiday up here for the full year because he gives me my best chance to win Rookie of the Year and get that additional draft pick. I don't need two of you up at the same time. So I think Kobe Mayo will be up in June at some point. And I think Jordan Westberg and him will, in essence, split some time on that basis. And man, that is going to be a really exciting lineup at that point. Like, you just saw what they did in this spring training. I mean, they are just banging the ball. 6 runs per game. I mean,
you're right. They are Jake Fox in it.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, you just look up and down the lineup and you're like, where are the weak points? And there's just, Jackson Holiday is going to come up. And again, he's going to struggle like in his first month or two. He's going to struggle, but he's going to be in like the 7th hole or the 8th hole. And he's probably projected to be a 110 weighted runs created plus player, I believe it is off the top of my head. And that's your 7th or 8th hitter. Like, come on. Like, it's going to be fun, people. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really fun season.
All right, Scotty, let me hit you with another
Sure.
truth.
Go for it.
Well,
I guess truth is what I'll go with, by the way.
All right. This is a somewhat less rosy question.
Sure.
With a resurgent Yankees team, question mark, with a competent to good Rays and Jays team in the AL East, does that combination make you feel like the Orioles wasted a great opportunity in 2023?
No. Here's one that really bothers me, and we're probably not going to get into this, but I have to bring it up. There was a recent poll done on MajorLeagueBaseball.com, kind of asking fans how hopeful they were for this upcoming season. Orioles fans ranked as the most hopeful fans in Major League Baseball for this upcoming season, out of any fan base.
What is this world?
What is this world we're living in?
All right, well let's think about that. Which of these are closer to what you would consider to be the truth?
Sure.
All right, I'm looking at 2 projected set of standings. One is Pacoda. Okay. One is the Zips projection.
Okay.
Zips has the Baltimore Orioles at number 1 in the AL East with 90 wins.
Okay.
Yankees and Blue Jays right behind it, 88. Tampa with 83 wins, and the Red Sox also present.
Okay.
Pacoda has the standings as follows: the New York Yankees with 92.5 wins, Toronto at 87, Baltimore at 3rd and 87.3, lower than Toronto's 87.6. Tampa just behind with 86.7, and then again Boston also present. Which of those 2 realities do you think is closer to our reality?
So I think everyone knows we are big fans of Dan Zabrowski on this podcast. I'm going to go with Zips on this one. I really like the Zips format. I really like, how in essence a lot of the projections are done. I think Dan normally posts the aspect of like Zips is typically outperformed a lot of other projection modeling on that basis. And again, I don't think Pacoda's that far off. Let me put that out there really straightly. I mean, they basically have the Yankees at 92 and the Orioles at 87. And again, I think it would be a little high on the Yankees, but I don't think it's outlandish on that basis. So
But the two are like 2 or 4 games separated, so it's not that much anyway.
I mean, I think, and I've said this since the very beginning, I think the Orioles and the Yankees are going to be very close the entire season. I think it's going to be just like it was for the Rays last year and us. I think it's going to come down to the last week between us and the Yankees. If I had to pick the better team right now, I'm going to pick the Baltimore Orioles. I look at the rotation, and even with Kyle Bradish, in essence, suffering an injury, I look at the Orioles rotation with Corbin Burns, and I say the Orioles have the better rotation right now. Again, coming back to optimism, do you know who the current favorite is? You love betting sites is the best way to describe it. The current AL Cy Young leader on most betting sites is Corbin Burns.
It's not Tyler Wells?
It's not Tyler Wells. But there's just so much going on for the Orioles and so much good things going on for them that even if it is not as good as last year, and I don't think it's going to be as good as last year, I don't think it's going to be 101 wins. I think they have a great chance of, again, winning the AL East and maybe learning a little bit from their errors last year. And I think they're going to be a better team. Maybe not in the win total, but I think they're going to be a better team.
If the Orioles and the Yankees are going to go down to the wire, if they're going to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, whatever you want to call it, all season.
Yep.
Is the league going to be more effective in 2024 than they were in 2012 of being able to tell when a ball hits the foul pole?
It's not going to matter this year because Jackson Holiday is going to hit the warehouse.
I withdraw the question. The last thing that we have to say here, Scott, for our prediction of the Baltimore Orioles is this.
Mm-hmm.
As we do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, the Baltimore Orioles are going to lose 100 games this season.
In classic 2012 style, it's something that both me and Jake predicted, that the Orioles would lose 100 games, and they made us look foolish, as they have in other seasons as well. So yes, the Baltimore Orioles are going to have an abysmal season, dashing all hopes. Best of luck is the best way to put it.
We have bared our truth to you, Birdland.
Yeah.
Let us know, what is your truth this preseason? You're running out of time. We are now a week away from opening day.
All right. Well, that let's go ahead and cast some prizes out there and cast what we're looking forward to with opening day upon us.
Scotty, the Orioles just ran their opening day bird bath sweepstakes, in which fans were asked what they were looking forward to most on opening day. And the prize, of course, was a pair of opening day tickets in the bird bath section.
It's kind of cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Have you been to the bird bath?
I have not.
Do you want to go to the bird bath?
I do.
Okay.
I do. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah. I really want to take Henry.
Yeah. There's no doubt. Henry has to go. I took Connor last year, had a ball.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it with kids.
I'm sure it's a hoot.
Yeah.
But this led
Your
us...
wife would not like it.
No, she would not.
She doesn't like being wet.
No. This led us to wonder, what might Orioles fans be looking forward to that's maybe a little more off the beaten path?
Yeah.
And if, they were to engage in a sweepstakes of this nature, what might the prize be?
Sure.
For that something? So, let's just off the cuff, I've got a couple of things here for you, Scotty.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I think one of the things in 2024 that Orioles fans are looking forward to the most would be the Major League debut of Jackson Holiday.
We love our 20-year-olds.
And so, of course,
our baby face looking 20-year-olds who are married.
I feel like this is going to dangerous territory. The prize, of course, for that particular event would be a Jackson Holiday Golden Locks wig, which then, of course, the next week could be used as a Gunnar Henderson Golden Locks wig. And then later on in the season, a Kjerstad Golden Locks wig. And
it's a cookie cutter costume if I've ever heard one.
It is indeed.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that people are looking forward to, and they've been keeping an eye on this, is they're waiting for MLB to officially confirm new ownership. They're really looking forward to potentially coming to opening day, Rubenstein being there, and in essence kind of waving to the crowd and kind of being recognized as the new owner of the Baltimore Orioles. And until that actually happens and Major League Baseball announces it, it can't really officially happen, is the best way to put it. So I think people are waiting for that on that basis. And what is the prize on that basis if that happens? Well, you just have to walk down the street over to, I wouldn't call it Pigtown, but it's close proximity to Pigtown, but you can go over to Checker Spot Brewing Company and get your Adios Angelos beer, a Mexican lager, and enjoy it for the rest of the season.
I do love that. Let me ask you though: did
you enjoy the beer, or did you enjoy the Adios Angelos?
Neither, sir.
Neither.
No.
Okay.
Is the final announcement of the sale reminiscent at all of the final announcement of the lease?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, it's just getting all the people together on the ownership group. And I think right now it's at the executive ownership committee because they went through the first committee, but there's an executive ownership committee, and then it goes to the vote for all the owners. This is going to get done.
Imagine all the people voting on
there's
the
no
sale.
doubt this is going to get done. I mean, I'm not even concerned about it. I think it's more of, I just look at it and be like, wouldn't it be super cool for it to be all done at an opening day, the announcement being made? I don't know. It would be so poetic.
Perhaps an announcement on the big screen during the game.
Right, exactly. With Governor Westmore right there. Yeah.
All right, Scotty, I think something that a lot of Orioles fans are looking forward to this season is, of course, the Orioles broadcast booth karaoke.
Yeah.
Featuring Kevin Brown and Blink-182.
Yeah. I think will be fun, and it'll be interesting to see if Kevin brings anything out from the new album, is the best way to put it. And see if Ben McDonald is able to recognize anything. He said he's been studying up on Blink. I kind of have a hard time believing that, but yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Hey, everybody needs headphones in the stand.
Yeah.
The prize, of course, for that will be tickets to the 2024 Oceans Calling Music Festival down at Ocean City, of course, where Blink is headlining one of the night.
Friday night, I believe it is, off the top of my head. I think it's Friday, and then Saturday is with the Killers, and then Sunday it's some trashy band that we're not going to talk about.
Stop it, Steve. Here's the thing. Ocean's Calling.
Derek Arnold's going to comment on me doing that.
How dare you?
How dare me?
Ocean's Calling was a hoot last year. I will say it was more of a millennials wet dream last year than it is this year, but still a good.
Still looks like a great lineup.
Yeah, still stacked.
It is the best way to put it. Not quite opening day, but I do think one event that people are looking forward to in this upcoming season is they're looking forward to a playoff victory, and it's been a long time. I mean, again, think about it. 2014 ALDS is the last time the Orioles had a playoff victory.
Wow.
So,
you're telling me it's been 10 years?
It's been 10 years. It's going to be up in 10 years coming up in this year. So
I just turned into the lady from Titanic.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So again, it's one of those things where you start thinking about it. And again, based off of what we saw last year in the playoffs with the Orioles getting swept, the disappointment of the end of the Ravens season, I feel like Orioles fans need a playoff victory and perhaps a playoff series victory just to kind of reaffirm that everything is good in the world. And their prize in reality is really a prize for us because it's a prize for our children that they can maintain their childhood to a certain regard.
Oof. Excuse me. I'm just going to spend a moment of my feels there for a second. Here's really what I want in that scenario. I want a moment in the 2024 Orioles postseason that overshadows the Delman Double.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree.
I want our kids to have their own moment.
Yep. I agree.
That is really what I want. My last item of this particular sweepstakes is finding out which new Camden Yards adjacent businesses will make it and become part of the mainstream stay down at Camden Yards. There's going to be the Boots and Brats Beer Garden. There's going to be the Maryland Yards. I'm sure that there are others that I'm just not aware of, but I'm really looking forward to seeing like what becomes a regular pit stop on the way into the ballpark.
Sure.
Some of those places become people's mainstays, and some of them just go off into the ether. But when we look forward to an event like this of finding out which organizations are going to make it, the prize for that is a Camden Pub koozie.
I miss Cannon Pub every single time I pass by that. What is it? Afghani?
No,
it's Caribbean
it's
now.
Caribbean, yeah.
Yeah, it's Caribbean. Yeah. Like I said, I miss it every single time. Even when I'm coming back from the stadium, we pass by with our kids and I look in there and I was like, there's a lot of good memories in that building. A lot of good memories in that standpoint. Jake, for my last one in terms of it, I'm going to kind of throw a wild card out there. Jake, what is one thing that you're looking forward to this upcoming season?
I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is the continued pride in being an Orioles fan. You know, it was something that was long dormant.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, it was so good to watch the Orioles play national televised games and not have us be an also-ran, not have us be a prop, you know, because we were playing the Yankees. But, you know, we played a series with the Atlanta Braves, and those were two great young teams that the media was fawning
That was
over.
a World Series matchup, basically.
Right. I am looking forward most to the moments this upcoming season that are going to show that it is a great time to be an Orioles fan. And frankly, I think there are going to be so many of them this year, you know, just building on last year. It's everything from going downtown and having the place feel orange, right? In a way that it hadn't until, you know, the last year or two. It's everything from watching those national televised games. It's from, you know, wearing your orange and running into plenty of people and not just that one weird guy on the train where you can kind of give the nod and be like, yeah, it's real. It's real.
So what I'm looking forward to is we're at the 5-year mark. Back in 2018, at the end of it, I said it's going to take 5 years for the Orioles to rebuild and get to the point where they're going to be a really good team. And I said last year, you know, they're a little early, but it's great to see what they're doing. We are truly at the 5-year mark. And if we think about it, and we think about last year's team, and we think about this year's team, last year's team was an absolutely magical team. Let's say it. Like 100 wins is not going to happen many times in our lifetime. So this is nothing against the 2023 team. Great team. Loved it. But if you think about it this year, 5 years off of 2018, you in essence have Jackson Holiday. You've got Adley Rutschman. You've got Grayson Rodriguez. You've got Colby Mayo banging at the door to come up. You've got folks like Cade Povich, who's potentially going to make an appearance at a later time. Everything that we said about the core, and in essence, creating a core of who is going to be it. And again, I talked about it back then of like, it's great that we've got Cedric. It's great that we've got Trey and stuff like that. And I was like, but are they going to be the core when this team is going to be really good? And if you look at the team now going into 2024, you can say, I see what the core is going to look like for the next 5 years. So we made it last year, honestly. Like we were a little ahead of it, but now this year, you can even look at it even more and be like, we made it. We got through it. This is going to be an absolutely magical season. By gosh, those 5 years were an absolutely abysmal standpoint. But again, you know, as old Orioles fans, we went through the dark ages of 98 through 2011. We know it could have been a lot longer with poor management. So what I'm looking forward is to seeing the young core come onto the scene, play 100 plus games together, and absolutely dominate Major League Baseball.
It's crazy because I remember that conversation down in SD Studios.
Yep.
And here we are 5 years later.
Yeah.
It's wild because we kept asking ourselves all the way through, who is going to be, or is this player going to be on the next great Orioles
Correct.
team?
Exactly. We said, is this person going to be the superstar or could they be a role player? And I think I said at the time, I was like, I think Cedric Mullins is a good, 2 to 3 WAR player. And I think that still is apropos for Cedric Mullins. I think he can be a good 2 to 3 WAR player. Do I think he could be a 4 WAR player? He could be, but it's more than likely not going to happen ever again.
But doesn't need to.
Doesn't need to be, exactly. So now you've got folks like Gunnar, you got folks like Adley who are in the running for potentially an AL MVP. And then you've got Jackson Holiday, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate already. You've got Grayson, who, again, he's already called out to be an emerging candidate for a pitching breakout standpoint. Bradish finished in the top 5 last year for AL Cy Young. Well, hopefully he can come back. There's just so much of this core to get super excited about. It's a really it's going to be a really fun aspect. As much as last year was super exciting, this year you're playing with napalm is the best way to put it.
I don't know where these guys are, but do you remember the Boog Powells?
Oh,
They
yeah,
had
yeah,
that
yeah.
song, How About Them O's?
Yeah.
And they named all the Orioles on
Absolutely.
the roster. Where are those guys? We need an update.
I don't know.
They gave us one update, but that
Yeah.
was Dark Ages baseball. We need a real update.
Yeah.
All right, we've done it all, Scott.
We've done it all.
We've issued out the prizes for sweepstakes. We've gone through truth and truth. At this point, I think we've got to bring this to a hurtling stop. Let's go ahead, take a quick break, come back, and blow the save. We have to do the thing that every other podcast is doing right now. No, I don't mean issue shirts. I mean we have to talk, Scott,
Okay.
about the fact that it's
We're really old.
an end of an era.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Google,
This is the last episode of Bird's Eye View.
every episode should be.
Yeah.
Google Podcast is going to be shuttering its doors. I think it's very soon, actually. That
I'm going to say it's like May. Like it's not super soon, but it's coming up.
I thought it was earlier.
It might even be.
But I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Google Podcast is going away. So
Yeah.
if you are listening to this show,
If you are on an Android device and for some reason not using Spotify,
yep, that's this guy right here.
Spotify
Is it good?
Spotify's fine. Like that's the majority of folks that are using, podcasts. Like if you're on Google Podcast, reach out to me and let me know why is the best way to describe it.
I'm on Google Podcast
Let me know why.
because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It should be on
it's-
Spotify.
It's going away, just like Google Play Music went away.
Yeah.
And now they're turning it into.
Well, you remember what was before Google Play Music?
I think it was a stone tablet.
No, it was Creamsicle.
That. I don't care what you say, Scott. There is no Orioles podcast that is more self-referential than we are. And if you know what we're talking about, good on you,
Yeah, good on you.
jockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going away. It's turning into YouTube
Music. Yeah.
We're gonna do our best to set ourselves up on there.
Yeah, we'll get it transferred over. So if you really are interested in supporting the Google mechanism, by all means, we'll have it set it up over there for YouTube Music. There's a lot of great content on YouTube and stuff like that too. I know like The Verge, for example, does like their YouTube stuff on there. So like, yeah, I mean, YouTube is a fine platform. But again, I think, if you're looking for other options, Spotify is a great option on that basis too. But yeah, we'll be over on YouTube Music. Just be aware that if you subscribe to Google Podcasts like the old people do, like Jake, you're going to have to switch streaming platforms in the near future. And I'm sure you've been notified by Google Podcasts as such as well.
And now you have been notified
By
by
us.
us.
Yeah.
And that is our show. Remember, you can find this in our entire catalog of indispensable episodes at birdseyeviewbaltimore.com.
Just like we said before, Bird's Eye View is available for download wherever it is you get your podcast, except if it's going defunct. You can find us on Apple Podcast, YouTube Music in the future, Spotify, and many others. And if we're missing something that you're using to like listen to a podcast, let us know and we'll get it uploaded there.
Creamsicle.
But please rate and review the show. We appreciate the aspects. Please, 5 stars is always great if you can do it. If you haven't done it on another platform, you can do it on multiple platforms, and it does kind of help us get more audience out there. So we appreciate that. And in reality, it encourages other people to listen for the first time and share in the suffering with you.
Come and get social with us. You can email us at contact@birdseyeviewbaltimore.com. You can find us all over social media. We are on Blue Sky. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We have a Snapchat account. We're on the Ticks and the Talks. But the best place to find us is that site that used to be called Twitter, where we do something that used to be called tweeting at Bird's Eye View.
Are we doing Xing now?
BAL. I'm
Not gonna say that?
I'm formally tweeting.
Okay.
And with that, Baltimore and beyond, it's almost here.
So
And
close.
I'll bid you all a fond adieu.
Good night, Baltimore. Get that baseball beer ready. Be safe out there. And let's go O's. You getting a little bit more excited now?
Definitely.
Okay, good. That's good. Jorge Mateo in the outfield. It's going to be an adventure.
Oh, now I'm definitely excited.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
52 minutes.